Hey guys, I'm really excited today to be teaching you guys how to do the shoulder press. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so as usual, this video will follow this flow and I'll be talking about the purpose of this exercise, the form for this exercise, some of the cues that will help you improve this exercise, the sets and reps for your purpose, and the common mistakes that I usually see. Alright, so the dumbbell shoulder press is actually my favorite exercise right now to train my shoulders. The dumbbell shoulder press is used to train mainly the front of your delts and is actually going to help you to get that sculpted shoulder look that you're going for. And why I like this exercise so much is because of the natural motion that a dumbbell shoulder press allows you to do once you've mastered the form. And when I press the dumbbells and it goes inwards, I really feel the squeeze on my front delts. Okay, let's get into the form. Kicking up the dumbbells to your shoulders, you should start from here. At this point, one side of the dumbbell should be resting on your shoulders and you're ready to press safely overhead from here. Your legs should be planted on the ground and you should be seated all the way back onto the seat. In this position, notice that my forearms are pointing directly towards the ceiling because this is a safer way to start. Now once you're ready, you can begin by pressing the weight directly up and then inwards. Here I'm breaking down the motion into two phases, but it's essentially one smooth motion. So you start by pressing the weight upwards and then come inwards for that full squeeze on that front delt. Once you're comfortable with it, you can actually combine the two phases to make one smooth motion of up and in. Once you've pressed the weight up, then you lower the dumbbells down until your elbows form about 90 degrees or slightly lower. Now looking on from the side, I want you to notice that I'm seated all the way back into the seat and I have a nice slight arc at my lower back. This is going to form a stable base for you to press from and you're not going to feel like you're imbalanced or going to fall over. Watch here as I shift my elbow vertically below my wrist. This is going to help balance the dumbbell, and if you don't have your dumbbell balanced, not only are you going to feel weaker, but if it tips forward or backward, you're going to injure your shoulder. If you're still having difficulty looking for a natural motion for the shoulder press, don't worry, you can try out this drill that I like to give to my clients. Essentially, you just start with your arms out to your sides just like this, and then you're going to start to raise your arms up overhead. This position represents the top position for your shoulder press. Now you just lower your arms back to your sides, and this is actually the starting position for your shoulder press at the bottom of the shoulder press. Now all you do is just bend your arms, and this is basically the starting position. Once you find that natural arc, you can just repeat the motion over and over again so that you can familiarize yourself. Before we move on, I want to emphasize on the right way to start the exercise. The only way you should be starting is by kicking up the dumbbells to your shoulders. For one, not only is it safer for you to press the dumbbells from your shoulders once you've gotten a proper balance, you also won't be able to curl up the weight once the weight gets heavier anyway, so you should practice this and get your foundation right. Now you've learned the basics of the motion, but likelihood is that when you're trying it out yourself at first, you're going to be shaking all around and you're going to feel really uncoordinated. That's why we're going to talk about the cues you can use for you to feel more balanced and that the motion will be more natural for you guys. So the first cue, of course, would be a slight repetition of what I talked about just now, which is the breaking down the motion first into a pressing upwards and then an inwards. It also helps to focus on the motion of your elbows rather than your wrists. What I mean by this is that people too often think about where the dumbbell is moving, but instead you should close your eyes and imagine your elbows going up and then inwards. This is why I often like to ask my clients to try the motion without any weight in their arms. This is going to help you familiarize yourself with the motion before you decide to handle any weight. Also remember that as you are pressing up and especially when you press in, you should feel that squeezing sensation right at the front of your shoulders. Also, as a safety tip, when you're pressing, make sure to keep the angle at your elbow right about just under 90 degrees and not more than 90 degrees. This is because if the dumbbell is about to tip over, it's much easier and safer for you to control the descent of the dumbbells back onto your shoulders. As for how much you should be doing, we're going to follow this guide that is widely recognized. So if you're looking to improve your strength, you should be doing about 4 to 6 reps per set. If you're looking to increase the size of your shoulders, you should be doing somewhere between 8 to 12, or some people like to do up to 15. And for muscular endurance, you should be doing from about 15 to 20 and maybe above. I think it's worth mentioning here that I encourage both men and women to try the strength and size rep schemes, because you won't become too bulky, as bulking really depends on your training scheme as well as your nutrition scheme. Lastly, moving on to the common mistakes so that you guys can avoid them. The first one is that other than not kicking up the dumbbells, I see people kicking up the dumbbells but not towards their shoulder, and then they're aiming straight into a starting position. What this is going to do is that the dumbbell might fly out, and then you might cause your shoulder to go into external rotation, and you're going to cause it to be injured. The next problem I see is with posture. Instead of having a nice arc in the lower back like this, with a stable base to press from, they sit on the bench like they are sitting in a normal chair, flushed all the way to the back like this. And this is actually going to make you feel imbalanced, because the dumbbell is going to make you feel like you're falling forward. So you have to sit back and arc your back. Another really common problem that I see is that some people just go too light on this exercise. I often see a lot of women trying to do this exercise with 2 or 3 kilos, and that's really not going to do you any good at all. While it is good to try this exercise with light weights when you're first starting out, you should really work on doing progressive overload so that you see some real results. The last problem I see is that some people are not paying attention on the squeeze at the front of your shoulders. Try to do what I'm doing here by closing my eyes and really making sure that there's that constant tension on that front of the shoulder and that squeeze at the top of the motion.
Okay, so I hope you guys found that tutorial useful, and I know it's really hard to learn the form from just a video, so I urge you guys to try it out yourself, and if you have any questions, go ahead and DM me on my Instagram. With that, I'll see you guys in the next video.